Can you hear us? Please, anybody? This is Pierre speaking. Can you hear us? Can you hear me? I'm not like multiple person.
Can you hear us? Talking in multiple voices.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Anybody? Talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Talking. Talking. What about player one? Big box.
This is
Oh,
yeah, all right.
cheddar habanero quesarito.
There we go.
Delicious.
Sound levels okay.
What?
Marley,
$5?
our sounds level equal? How's it
I'm gonna give me a habanero quesarito. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, so that's that.
Delicious. Delicious.
Alright, so no, not hair drop. This is a stupid thing. Only screen. There we go. Gotta kill the sound.
I do love habaneros, and I do love quesaritos.
You do.
Yeah, it's the greatest Mexican invention of the 21st century. A quesarito, so good. Oh, I had a cheeseburger at this hotel tonight. At one of the restaurants in the hotel. That was a waffle burger.
Ew.
So listen. The buns were waffles, but the waffles were made out of bacon, macaroni, and cheese.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. So they basically took macaroni and cheese and then pressed it in a waffle iron and then cut that up and gave that to you as a bun for your hamburger. That's class. That's what we do in the city. That's class. Sitting here in my fancy room for 4 days.
All right, let's invite in our special guests.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Okay, where's the...
Is it a sock puppet?
It is not. Hello, special guests.
G'day.
So this is Australian Derek with us tonight.
Derek, how you
going,
doing?
everybody?
Good.
We haven't started the show yet. We're about to do that, but I figure I'd at least get you in right away.
It's good to check the levels, I suppose.
Yup, it's all good. So we've got 3 different countries represented tonight.
Worldwide.
Yup, international podcast.
And yet all Anglo. So
Well, I can speak French, but I'll speak to myself pretty much all evening.
French people are still white, though.
That would be true, but hey. All right, so what do you say we get this party started?
Yep, let's go.
So Derek, just so you know, when we launch, I'm the only one who can hear the music and actually the people on Twitch. So just wait till the part where I introduce you, which will be right after Mark, and that's your cue to say something. That works?
Yeah, that's fine. No problems.
All right, let's get the going. Live from the internet, this is the Crystal Chronicles, your Final Fantasy Record Keeper podcast. My name is Pierre. I am happy to be part of episode number 33, recorded on August 5th, 2016. Oh, guess what the hell? October 5th, 2016. Ben cannot be here tonight, but as you just heard him laughing, Mark is a part of us. Hey, Mark.
Pierre is 3 months back, but 2 months back. Yes, welcome,
and
all of our Final Fantasy fans.
And this is a special international edition of the Crystal Chronicles because we welcome Australian Derek tonight. Hey,
G'day, g'day.
Derek.
How's everybody going?
Not too bad. You know, being from the future, you could have told me that I was going to mess up the intro. I would have prepared.
I think we all knew you were going to do that.
Yeah, what do you know? So, Derek, we've been trying to, you and me, to get a good time frame to get you on the show for a while now. Happy to have you with us, man.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky with the time zone differences, but you know, I'm always prepared to help out and go the extra mile, and it only took, you know, having a baby so I could get a little bit of time off work to make it happen.
See,
there you go.
That wasn't too much effort. Now you just gotta stick with it for the entire rest of your life.
Yeah, you just have to then have them always. Yeah.
They don't leave after the show.
They don't.
No.
They don't leave. No. Yeah.
So it's 9
Nobody told me
p.m.
that.
here at the chair I'm sitting in. What time is it for you?
11 a.m.
Wow.
That's different. It is literally tomorrow from where we are. So you are in the future. That is true. Yeah, it's 8 p.m.
100%.
here in Chicago.
So we've got almost 12-hour difference between all of us. Huh, what do you know? All right, let's get started with some announcements. Great thing, the app that nobody, well, actually, maybe Derek uses it, but the app that no one on this show usually use, the FF Portal app, the campaign results are in, and we reached out somehow a level of 500,000 points of something, and the only thing you got to know is that there was 10 Mythril and 6 major growth eggs in for everyone. Hooray.
Yeah, 10 Mythril. It's hard to complain about that.
And the crowd goes wild. Are you using that app, Derek?
Look, I haven't. I played around with it a little bit when it was first announced in FFRK. I think I took advantage of a free copy of FF1 a little while ago, but look, I just don't really have time to put into it for what it's giving us back.
Which is not
Nothing.
much, actually.
Or a lot for free, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, the 10 Mythril, that goes a long way to helping me recoup my constant losses on Relic Draws, so, you know, I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
We'll get to that later.
those. And the Geisel Green orbs are different from yesterday, and this week's menu is Summon, Fire, and Ice. Yay. And
I
actually,
forgot to get my Mythril.
Exactly what I was going to say. Let me go grab that right now.
So Pierre, what's your Geisel Greens looking like? And Derek, now that you're with us, what's your count?
Look, I think I'm tracking at about 60,000.
Seems
I
like a
really dipped
reasonable
low
number.
there. Yeah, but I've built it back up again, so happy with where it's at now.
I was at 1,800, and I'm at 800 right now.
That's still 800 more than Ben has.
Yeah,
You listening, Ben?
I think Ben has like depths or something. They're gonna break his legs shortly. Chocobo's running to break his legs.
And 300,000 less than some of our followers and friends here on Twitch.
People on Twitch,
Think,
tell us right now how many green orbs you have. It's a competition. We have something like 10 viewers. We want to know how many orbs, how many greens you have.
Who's got the most greens stashed?
You'll win absolutely nothing, but
You with bragging rights will.
there you go.
We'll say, wow, you got a lot of greens.
Yeah, we'll say your name on the podcast. That is what you win. While everybody is catching up with what we're saying with the delay and all, let's move on to the Datamined stuff that I posted this morning.
Exciting.
Yep. I went totally nuts when my backend thingy gave me an alert. Oh, new files, and dropped the stream I was running to post that before somebody else on Reddit did. And basically, there's two important campaigns coming up this month. You've got the Fall Mythril giveaway that we had for summer and spring, and it's always the same crap. Basically, 5 free Mythril on October 14, 5 free Mythril on October 21st, and 5 free Mythril on October 28th. Chances are they might do a gift 4 and 5 like they did for summer. We'll see what happens. So,
nice.
Yep. That's at least 15 free Mythrils for everyone.
So just an update on the Geisel Green situation. Thriller McMiller on Twitch has 255,000 greens.
You do know
So-
Thriller
That's just ridiculous.
at some
That's-
point, if you're
that's
not
a lot.
using them, what's
That's
the
a
point?
lot.
Super Cop
Super
has
Cop. Super Cop had over 100,000, 135,620. Very nice.
Can you believe Super Cup with that amount? You're not even number one.
There's someone 100,000 more than that. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, I think I'm sitting at 80, 83. Oh, I believe you. I don't need to look at the imager. I believe you. I'm just saying that's a lot of greens.
So
That's a lot of grinding.
has 9,000 greens. See, that's more of a
That's practical.
yeah.
That's
That feels normal.
yeah.
Let's-
I think Thriller's going to win. I can't imagine anyone having much more than 255,000. So, but if anybody does, let us know. Write a note in the comment section.
Let me.
That's a lot of
get
greens.
something
Someday.
real quick.
Someday that's going to pay off, though. You can never save too much.
Well, yeah, definitely.
I'd just be interested from Thriller to see how did you get that high? Like, what have you done to? How much time have you spent farming greens? And
Why are
what's
you
your
not
spending been
using
like?
them?
Have you been banking at all?
Yeah, what's your master plan here?
Give us your green strategy, Thriller. Threats 13 represent.
Threats, you're not even close. I mean, all right. And the other thing that's going to be coming, and the response to that one on Reddit kind of caught me off guard. Seems like people are not really impressed with it. It's debuff Soulbreak Relic Draw that's going to be starting on October 22nd and ending on November 2nd. Basically, the 6 items that are showcased here are Ferris Artemis Bow, Oron Riot Blade, Stupid Face from Final Fantasy 1. It's Wall from Final Fantasy 1, the Blank Blade. Zidane Oracle Comberlam Thingy Blade Dagger. Stupid Face from Final Fantasy 14, the girl with the glasses.
The monk.
It's a fist Sapphire something. And tactics, I think it's like mustache or something. His Coral Sword.
Mustachio.
There we go. And as I was saying, even though for once my post on Reddit did not go totally in I'm not going to say that word, but usually Reddit is a hard crew to follow.
They really hate you. That's why.
I don't think it's just me. I think they're really just...
Oh yeah, it's pretty rough.
But,
it is.
See, it says 96 points, 98% upvoted. But anyway, my point here was that there's a lot of people that are really not impressed with that Relic Draw banner Apparently, there's a lot of very good soul break debuff equipments that are not offered on that banner. So
Right.
what is your take on it, guys?
Is it going to be 25 or is it 50? Do we know?
I don't know. The only images that were Datamined were the banners related to that. So there's nothing telling us that there could be one half draw or something.
Look, if I was going to guess, I would put my money on it being a half price draw. The reason that I say that, and I'm not sure where we're at in the timeline compared to Japan, but I do know that they moved away from half price draws on the Nightmare dungeons. I think they are in global. To those being full priced, and regularly they would give you a themed banner, roughly monthly, which would be your half price banner. And this would certainly fit that mold of being a theme banner, hopefully half price, just for fun.
I mean, if it's half priced, the Artemis bow and the Riot blade are both really good.
Oh, look, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah,
don't
the
get
other
me wrong.
items are not bad. They're good items. I mean, they all have interesting debuffs, and any overlap? No, not really. So yeah, I mean, they're all Super Soul Break or higher.
I just realized that I got this whole thing wrong on one thing. There's actually 2 Relic Draw banners that I Datamined this morning, and I was too stupid to figure out the difference. There's the debuff Relic Draw banner, and there's the Realm Dungeon Lucky Relic Draw, where all the 5-star drops will always be unique soul break equipment for Final Fantasy 3, 13, and Tactic Heroes. So there you have it.
Yeah, that's the Realm. That's the Realm one,
that's the Realm one.
There's so many possibilities at this point for those Realm banners that it's going to be hard for me to justify pulling on a Realm banner. I mean, unless it's a specific realm and it's all Super Soul Break or higher items, but to have unique Soul Break equipment from 3 very different realms, that's
okay.
I'm kind of that way on the lucky banners, all white mage, all black mage, any of the future ones of those. I mean, yeah, they're half price. That's the only reason, but even so.
See, the last dungeon Lucky Relic Draw banner we had was on beginning of September. The realms were 5, 12, and for some reason 13 again, and you could only draw once in that one. So I am thinking that maybe there's maybe that one was half price. That's what I'm trying to load up real quick. Series ID. Yeah, that one was half price. So the dungeon Lucky Relic Draw will very likely be half price. And let me just load up the information for the buff Soulbreak Relic Draw.
The buff one was the other one, right?
Yep. One sec.
Yeah, I'm being a little bit more stingy with my Mythril, unlike a certain young man who is often on this podcast, who is studying very hard right now for midterms tomorrow or next week or sometime.
No, I think he has stuff like tomorrow.
Yeah. So I've made one pull. I mean, I pulled on the 4th triple Soul Break banner, but I probably won't pull again until Eco banner.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, so, now is the time that we need to be saving, definitely, in terms of the banner timeline.
So
right, and it's only going to get more intense.
Close that chapter. The Realm Dungeon Relic Draw will be, if it's like what we had at the beginning of September, the Dungeon Relic Draw banner will be half price one time only, and the debuff Soulbreak Relic Draw banner will be full price as many times as you want. So that's what we had beginning of September, and that's what I'm expecting for those banners coming at nearly the end of October. So there you have it.
There you go.
Yep.
Heard it here, folks.
Just gonna put a real small note on my outline to fix the news. Price dungeon.
But some good stuff, and we always appreciate Datamined information. You heard it here first, unless you saw this update on FFRK Central or on Twitter,
or if
on
you were
Slack
following
or on Reddit.
My daily streams on twitch.tv/Super Gaming Bros TV. That's where you heard
Secret
it
of Mana
first.
3.
Yeah,
That's some
and
quality
it's all,
programming right there.
It's
Quality programming.
all Derek's fault if I'm playing Secret of Mana 3 and enjoying it.
It's good times. Yeah.
But let's
They don't
not,
call it Secret
let's
anything.
not sidetrack because Ben is gonna write us hangry.
Oh
note
yes,
in
we
the chat.
have ultimate battles we should talk about, and they were just loads of fun for Selfie's Secret Place event. I mean, a Secret Place event.
Believe me, when I was trying to get the SR invasion thing, I had to go to my happy place
You had
a
to
couple
go
of
to
times.
your happy place.
'Cause that was not a fun fight at all. But let's start with that one. So basically, you fight 3 waves of 5 soldiers. Some of them are weak to poison. Some of them are weak to thunder. Just look at what Mugi is telling you to get the 411 on that. For some reason, that fight is a lot harder than the U+. And quite frankly, that's my experience. I had to bring 2 healers. Lena, who has almost every flippin' soul break that was released for her, and Selfie that has Dream Stage. I had to go with these 2 healers. I took Oran that had Draw Fire and Retaliate, and a freaking not Roaming Wire, but Recurrent Materia for damage, was giving him more soul break points, whatever, something, and then 2 other guys doing damage with Spellblade. That's how I beat it. If you want to look at it, the video is somewhere in my YouTube channel. So I recorded the fight that I actually won, but it was hard. Like, I barely made it.
Yeah, I actually brought. It took me a couple times. I actually had to. Well, the first time I made a mistake in what I brought with me. The second time I don't know what happened. Anyway, it did take me a few times and a lot of stamina, more than I would normally use on these fights to actually beat it. I ended up bringing. I had Tyro, and so I ended up bringing Dancing, Multi-Break, and then Bio Grenade on Tyro with Sentinel Grimoire. I had a healer with Protectka, and then I had my 3 AoE Super Soul Break guys. So I had Paladin Cecil with his Super Soul Break. I had Agris with her Super Soul Break, and I had Squall with his Super Soul Break. And so what I did is I beat the first wave pretty easily with Tornado Strike, Blade Blitz, and Agrias Strike. So it was like 1 turn and the first wave was done. And then I did the single attacks of the Life Siphon, Lightning Strike, that kind of thing on the second wave until I just had 1 left. So there was 1 dude left in the second wave. And before I killed him, I rebuffed. So I had Sentinel Grimoire up, I had Shout up, I had Protectka up. I had my 2 of my attackers ready to use their AoE Super Soul Breaks, and I had Tyro ready to use Multi-Break, killed the last guy, immediately Multi-Braked, and then did the AoE attacks, because that third wave can do a lot of damage really quick. Yeah, they can murder your healer really quick. They do gravity attacks, so it's taking chunks of your HP away. They have multi-hit attacks, and they do move pretty fast because there's 5 of them and only 5 of you. So, yeah, that was my strategy. I can share that too, I guess, somewhere. I'm not sure that I shared it on Slack because I'm at a conference all week. But, yeah. Derek, any luck with this? Any better
Well,
tips?
look, I'm ashamed to admit, but for the to the ultimates yet, shortly after they've come out, I've sort of been quite busy with the Japan game, and my time's been a little bit limited, so I pushed it aside. I got as far as setting my party up for the ultimate, and was about to go into it before I was interrupted this morning. So, no doubt I'll be ready to bowl those over pretty quickly, and I'll let everybody know in Slack how I've gone. I have my notepad out now. I'm furiously taking notes, so it should be an easy win, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I would just encourage people, be very careful before you transition into Wave 3. Wave 3 is significantly more difficult than Wave 1 and 2. So it's not all the same. Also encourage people, this is not a SID mission. So, you can bring your SID team for bragging rights, but, it's 60 stamina. So, I'd bring your best characters. And if you have AoE Super Soul Breaks, AoE Burst, if you have those AoE new 6-star abilities, like I brought Agrias Strike, which was awesome to use on Paladin Cecil, and my Paladin Cecil's all the way buffed up, but yeah, it made a big difference. So.
All right.
Yeah, that's Selfie.
And that brings us to the Ultimate Plus, the Wise Red Dragon. Honestly, if you
it's not difficult at
if
all.
you do that one right after, you'll already be in a mindset of, oh my god, I'll die so many times, and you just go right through him, SID mission right away. Anyway, for me, if you have a decent Final Fantasy XVIII, you can SID mission it like pretty easily.
Did you see? I did share this on Twitter this morning. Before I started into my training, I did this morning, and I did not, because I'm not very patient. I did not time out my dispel, so the Red Dragon can counter with reflect, right? So that makes chance. And it's a good chance, right? So every time he can counter with reflect. So he go by himself. So I brought Squall, Renoa, Irving, Quistis, and Selfie, because why wouldn't you bring the main characters on your SID team? He killed Irving. I'll give him that. He straight up killed Irving. It's fine, whatever. Renoa cast the twin Blizzaga on the reflected Red Dragon.
Ooh.
And that killed her.
Boom.
As it reflected both back on her. And then Quistis, Blizzaga to the face took her down. So both of my mages were killed by their own magic, which left Squall to do it by himself, which he did easily. And I will tell you, just as an aside, I have Snow. What's the new one? Snow Spell Strike. So I brought Snow Spell Strike, which is amazing for this on Squall. That's the new 6-star Spellblade ability. And I have an R3 Chain Blizzaga, which really does help quite a bit. And then I had Alexander. Now, if you're bringing Cypher can use Banishing Blade and Holy, the Saint's Cross. The Holy ability. That would be a better choice than what I brought. If Quistis has if you have her unlocked, so she's a white mage, she can bring Dispel. So I didn't have Protecta, I didn't have Shelga, I didn't have Wall, and I had some mitigation. So Selfie had Curaja and Dispel, right? Quistis had both Black Magic, Blizzarga. I had Full Break and Magic Breakdown on Irving, so that was my only mitigation. I had no buffs. I had Alexander and Chain Blizzaga on Renoa, and I had Blizzaga Strike and Snowspell Strike on Squall, but I brought Celeste's Burst Soul Break, and I cast that on Squall, and that gives you a Ice and Holy attack option.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's a really good. So not only because I'm playing with a hybrid team, right? So not only did that give me, oh, and I have Quistis's. I'm sorry, I do have Quistis's Mighty Guard 8. So I did have Shelga and Haste. I'm sorry. So that's not very real high. That's not real true. I did have Haste and all that. But Celeste's, so that upped my boosted my attack, boosted my magic, but it also gave me additional abilities that were Ice and Holy. Spellblade attacks. So that was really helpful. So Squall just pretty much single-handedly, just like Renoa's burst, would do the same thing. Give those ice attack options, but yeah, snow spell strike, even the two of them, and then chain Blizzaga. Man, these chain spells are just amazing. So I'm looking forward to getting more of these chain spells, so my mage team can not suck completely.
Well, hopefully.
But yeah, it's not hard. It's not hard. Did you do the submission, Pierre?
I did. Like I said, first attempt, I did that champion and submission. So I've got.
I did master it, even with having 3 of my characters die. So
that is something.
So it's not that important.
We'll see how it goes when I get to that one. I think if I can do the Sid mission, I would be comfortable saying anybody can do that because my 8 relics are almost non-existent. It's going to be tough. It was last time, and this is going to be if I can't clear it, I think I'm going to draw on banner 2, which we'll have a look at that shortly.
Well, shortly being now, actually, let's do that. Let's go take a look at banner number 2. So for banner number 2. We've got Rinoa's Burst Soulbreak Shooting Star, which is don't move freaking icon. Deal 8 magic hurt and ice attack to all targets and grant haste and burst mode. Her burst abilities are True Spell Stonefall, deal 4 magic hurt and non-elemental attack to one target, and True Spell Ice Rays, deal 4 magic ice and non-elemental attacks to one target.
And much like the previous banner with this on, because this is not a new relic, this relic set on this banner is great for Mote Efreet, and obviously great for the Red Dragon. But you shouldn't have too much of a problem with the Red Dragon with your regular team. But yeah, this is the ability I brought with me as a Roman warrior for Mote Efreet, because that. True Spell Ice Rays is amazing. And the initial damage is amazing too.
Yep. So
now is Beast Killer new? The next item? Have we had Beast Killer?
I don't think it is. I think it might have been a banner 1 on the last event.
It surely wasn't on banner 1, let me tell you. Right away.
So Beast Killer is another whip, right? And it is haste. It's Cerberus. Cast haste to all allies. Reduce their offensive magic casting time for 3 turns. So it's definitely mage team oriented. Gives you haste and reduces your offensive magic. So that's helpful. But I think this might be the only new item, if it is new, on this banner. We've had Sorcerer's Might, which is Edia's ice and non-elemental damage. We've had Vega, which is Laguna's ranged attack and lower ice resistance. So again, you have the ice baby. Oh wait, no. You have a lot of ice things going on in this one banner. You have reduce ice resistance. You have an ice super soul break. You have an ice burst soul break. And then we look to what's this? Well, Cutting Trigger, which is Squall's super soul break. But then you have Squall's Jacket, which is N-Ice, Empower Ice. So, and then the Bracers. But yeah, so a lot of ice going on here. You can have a whole Final Fantasy VIII ice team with Rinoa and Edia and Laguna and Squall, and I guess you bring in Quistis, and yeah, if you had all of these relics, you could have basically your team built for you. If you upgrade Quistis to a white mage. There you go.
Right.
So it's not terrible. I mean,
It's fine.
especially if you like ice.
Yep. Okay, and that's pretty much it for the. I hate it when I say all the time like that. For the Final Fantasy VIII event, that's all there's to know. Last week we went over real quick when we talked about the 5 dooms. We went over the bosses that we haven't met yet. I don't know, Mark, if you want to do a quick recap of the bosses that came out since. How's your whole memory?
If I can remember what I did, I have beaten all of these bosses. So did we do... I don't even remember what was out last week when we met.
If you look at the outline, actually...
Oh, it does say.
Yeah, I just copied and pasted your stuff.
Atmos and Tiamat. Okay, yeah, sure. We can go over Atmos and Tiamat if people are still struggling. So Atmos, I should say, not Atmos. He's got a big maw, right? And he does gravity attacks. So that's good. And he casts Sloga, which is annoying. Yeah. But you get to bring knights. So bring your knights and win. Right? I mean, what have you seen my knight team? I don't have advice for this. I forgot my knight team is so good. I forgot I had Beatrix's Super Soul Break.
Wow.
That is how many powerful knights I have. Oh yeah, I got Beatrix's Super Soul Break. This is going to be amazingly easy, and it was amazingly easy. Yeah, let me go back and see if I posted what I actually did for these. Yeah, here we go, Atamos. So yeah, I had. Let's see. I brought Paladin Cecil because he is my main character, and I have Paladin Force. I brought Beatrix, and I have her Super Soul Break, and that has blink and damage. I have Bosch, and I have the Apocalypse Shield. I have Agrias's Super Soul Break, the Hollowed Bolt. And I have, of course, the knight known as Tyro. And he has wall and support. And I brought Mighty Guard. I brought Mighty Guard because, I didn't need... Oh, no, I had buffs because I had Apocalypse Shield. So I didn't need the buff from Shout. And all my characters were like at 550 attack. It was not good for Atamos. He cried like a gaping maw of death, and I don't even know. I mean, I just like did damage until he died. That was the plan in that one.
That's usually a pretty good plan.
He just died really bad.
It's a really straightforward encounter. I mean, the benefit is that knights are generally very strong units with good ability access. So you're going to be able to get at some high damaging abilities like Saint Cross, and a lot of them will be able to bring full charge as well.
Yeah.
And it's likely that you're going to have a relic or two for one of your knights that you can throw on another one with Life Siphon. The tricky thing with this boss is it does have gravity and also resistance ignoring attacks. So you probably want to stack up on breakdown mitigation more so than defensive mitigation,
and
just watch out for the slows. Yeah.
Yeah, and also instant KO resistant accessories because they will cut the damage that Gravita and Gravita Ragazza does.
Yeah, so I think I have 4. I have to go through my accessory list again at some point. I think we have 4, or now we have 5. We do have actually 5, I think, resist KO, instant KO accessories. So you can stack a whole team. Another way to do that is to bring accessories with, if you don't have 5 accessories that give you resistance to instant KO, which helps versus gravity, you can just bring accessories that increase your HP. That's another kind of help with that. So boost your HP a little bit so you don't immediately die.
Yep.
Yeah, and so that's Atamos, and then Tiamat, and I don't have a picture for Tiamat, so I'm not really sure what I brought besides machinists. I have a lot more machinists, and I thought because every machinist also has another useful class tied to them, right? Like Belthier has Combat 5. So, I mean, a lot of them have Combat 5. A lot of them have support 4 or 5.
I think Riku had Thief 5 as well.
Yeah, Thief 5. Plus, you get to bring Dragoons. So, you at least have one Dragoon combo. And, Tiamat, vulnerable to Earth. How did I... Oh, you don't have to use the Earth attack. So, yeah, that was not a condition. So you don't have to bring vulnerable to Earth, takes normal damage from wind, resistant to all other elements. So be careful when you're doing elements like Holy and that kind of stuff. So your Knight machinists are not necessarily the best, like Edgar, he could use Saint's Cross, right? Probably not the best idea for that. I did bring Slow. I just gave up. I don't know why. It seemed like the hit rate for Slow, and I was using one of the better Slow abilities, so it wasn't like a 10% chance. It was a decent percent chance. I think I was using Steal Time, and I just could not land Slow. It was like 4 turns. I'm like, okay, just at that point, I'm just done. You got to attack. So I'm not even sure that I would bother with Slow, very truthfully. But if you're having issues with DPS, then the Slow could give you some more turns until the Tempest ability comes off. But again, this was pretty straightforward too. The only issue is that Tiamat does both physical and magic attacks, right? But I want to see, maybe there's one element that Tiamat does more than the others. I don't know if either of you remember that.
Let's see. He does hurt damage and fire damage.
Yeah, maybe fire was what I was thinking.
Yep. So my team against Tiamat was Kane with wind jump and the Dragoon super jump attack, because I have his super soul break that makes instant jumps. I had Remza with that's pound and probably full break, I guess. I had Celeste with wind attack or Aeroga attack and not Thunder Strike, but let me check real quick. The one that Tornado Strike. That's it. I had Zidane because he had a Super Soul Break that does wind damage. He had Tempo Strike and I hate how I keep forgetting these freaking spell name. That one here. It's Life Siphon, and I had Lena with Cure and Shell. So basically that, and Remza had the start, basically Soul Break Record Materia, that I also forget the name, because his Soul Break, his unique Soul Break, gives Protect to everyone. So that's how I got Protect on my party, and I had Shout as a roaming wire. And I ended up the fight with only 2 guys up. That was Celeste and what's his face, real quick, and Zidane. So they were the only one up and with not a lot of HP. So I barely made it on that fight.
Yeah, there's a couple other people on the Twitch chat saying it was a little bit more difficult. Tempo Fury, though, it sounds like worked pretty well in terms of the slow. So, yeah, give that a try.
The only other thing I can cut in, if people are having any trouble clearing this still, which, I mean, they're all quite achievable, but if you are stuck, I believe that a lot of these attacks are wind-based. So if you have any resist wind relics, throw them on some of your squishier units, and go to Pound Town. You'll get it.
Yeah, especially if you have the... I think I brought, because I brought a healer, and so my healer was not synergied with the realm, obviously. So I think I put the 6-star armlet that we get from the Nightmare Dungeon. So if you have that, That helps a lot. So there's a major wind resistance item. Not a lot of other wind resistance items,
See,
to my knowledge.
depending on which phase he's on, he's got between 25 and 30%, 35% chance of doing a wind base attack, and he's got between 20 and that's 20 and 25% chance of doing a AOE fire base attack. So
Yeah.
depending on your RNG, both
Right.
both accessories might be useful there.
Well, right.
100%.
I don't think we don't have 5 wind accessories at this point.
Most definitely not. We've got one major and one moderate, I believe.
Yeah, I have to update my spreadsheet to account for all those that we've gotten recently. We have gotten a lot more, but yeah, there's still some we're pretty light on. So banners, the more exciting part of the triple burst. Although, let's say before we go into banners, let's talk about the 6-star abilities that we just unlocked, right? So we just unlocked all these 6-star abilities. Or we just we just unlocked, if you beat all of the dungeons, right, and you beat all of the monsters 4 times, you unlocked special, what are they called? The spheres.
Sphere skills.
Yeah, well, what are those things called that you have to use? The class.
Oh.
The record spheres.
Record spheres. I thought there was another name for it.
Motes and stuff like that.
Are they just called class motes?
I think they're empowered motes.
Ah, yeah.
Empowered motes. They're just empowered motes. Okay, so you only get, we talked about this last week, you only get so many of those, and depending, like the night one, you got 80 night ones, right? But then, the Dragoon Machinist ones, you only got maybe enough to do 1 Machinist or 1 Dragoon. And we're probably not going to get, and Derek, you can help us out here, probably not going to get a lot more of these anytime soon, right?
Not in the near future. You will get a chance to get more down the track when the in Japan they're called Nightmare Dungeons. I don't know how they're going to localize them in global, but those are the recurring 250 difficulty dungeons. Will often reward you with a handful of 1 class's motes. So you might get 30 bard motes or something like that.
So I would definitely say be careful about who you're using them on. Make sure you're using them on your A-team people. Make sure you're using them on people whose motes you've invested in already. Maybe your sphere grids, like your best people. That's my advice. That's my opinion. You can use them on whoever you want to. They're yours, right? But I'll tell you what I did. I've unlocked 4 of our new abilities. I know, which is amazing because it took me a long time to spend any of my motes. And I think at this point I've actually moted up 5 characters through all their 3-star motes, and I've almost finished Paladin Cecil's sphere grid. I may have finished Paladin Cecil's sphere grid completely. Let me check on that. I'm at level 3 of Paladin. I got level 5 Warrior, level 5 Knight, level 5 Red Mage, level 5 Gladiator, level 5 Spellblade, level 3 Paladin, and so I need to do 4 and 5 of Paladin, but I did unlock the job spheres. So I do have Aegeus Strike. Aegeus or Agrius? Aegeus, I don't think there's an R in there. I did unlock Snow Spell Strike on Squall. I did unlock Mug Bloodlust on, what's his name? That guy I hate. Fan. And then I did Demon's Blood on Orin, because all those people are kind of in my revolving door A-team. These abilities are pretty cool, I have to admit. They're, obviously they're not really, you're not going to hone them very much right now, but they're doing a lot of damage, and, sometimes I'm looking for just a second ability on some of my guys, very truthfully. And when you're doing some things like, I took on those Esther soldiers, and, the Agrius Strike basically just pummeled the first wave. without much of a thought, and that's a ultimate battle. So there are probably situations where even 2 uses of these spells might be beneficial. Now it's going to be situation to situation.
Dumb question. Can you shard them? Actually, I can probably
Yes.
answer that myself.
Yes, you can. I was
Because-
just hoping to talk about that briefly.
Yeah.
It is possible to make multiple copies of them. You
Yeah.
unlock the abilities on different characters' grids, and for each one that you unlock, I think you need to do the second sphere. Invest up that far, you'll get a copy of the ability, which you can break down and get some crystals out. Now, it is very tempting to do that to get cheap crystals, so you can hone some of your 6 stars. But obviously, once you've done that, if you spend all of your motes, you're not going to be able to unlock the 6-star ability on any other characters if you get
Yes.
a really awesome relic for them and you want to. So my advice would be that is something that you want to think about doing and keep in the back of your mind, but I would leave the door open until you're absolutely certain that you're ready to do it. Because if you rush out and do it now just because you can, you may be sorry later.
That is excellent advice.
Very good advice.
But for example, let's say I had perhaps gotten Beatrix's Burst Soulbreak, and that would complement my already powerful Paladin Cecil and his Burst Soulbreak. It might not be a bad idea for me to then create another Aegis Strike and smash those crystals with the opportunity to hone that up because I'm using 2 very powerful knights on my A team. For example.
That just for a friend you're asking, right?
For a friend. Because I did not pull Beatrix's Burst Soulbreak,
Neither did I.
unfortunately, but I would really, really like to. Very, very much. So, but I also did not invest additional funds to make that a reality. So I did my 111 pull and I was content.
Stick to your budgets, people.
Yep.
Yes.
There you have it.
My budget right now is Mythril. So,
All right.
but yeah.
Triple
So the
first
banner.
class.
Yeah.
What did we get? What did we not get? If I start, I got another freaking sword for Squall that I already had, and it's called one sec. SQUA. The Twin
lion.
Lance. So
Yeah,
I
the Twin
got
Lance.
that. And other than that, I got, let's see, Ash's Runeblade, Fusoya's Fairy Rod. I think actually I got those during the last podcast. And that was it for me. That's all I got out of that freaking event. And what about you guys?
Okay, I will share my shame. I shared it on Slack this week, and I think I'm a fair candidate for the worst draw that anyone has ever seen in 5-star guaranteed history. I did 150 pull on the Phase 4 banner. I was very disappointed when the orbs dropped down into the chest. I didn't see the screen shake, and I thought, where's my 5-star? It's guaranteed. Lo and behold, the orbs fly up. I have 10 silver orbs and 1 rainbow, which is not sparkling. Spoiler alert, we know that all of the featured relics are unique or better soul breaks. So I know that I've got a generic off-banner, and that's what it was. 1 generic off-banner armor for Final Fantasy X and 10 3-star relics.
Oh, wow.
I flipped the table.
Poor bastard. Poor guy.
There
This is
were
terrible.
some. Oh yeah, no. Someone, Bad Eagle, posted this on Slack chat because we asked this on Slack chat. He saw somebody on Reddit who posted the same thing that happened to Derek, except it was the helmet from Final Fantasy IX. I forget what the helmet's called, but I have it. So yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah. Interestingly enough, talking about Final Fantasy X outfits, Thayan, I don't know how you say it, Thayan? Yeah. Thayan got Dagger of Resolve and Excalibur and the Aurochs uniform, so Wakka's clothing. Interestingly enough, Schwarzkopf got Excalibur for Final Fantasy IX. That was his only. Trinity posted Inferno Fang. Yeah, that was on. Was that on one of the? Is that on the Final Fantasy VIII banner? But yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah, I'll tell you what I got because I have it here in front of me. I had, because I wanted Beatrix's Burst Soul Break so bad, I got all 3 Medicas that were on the banner, or maybe 3 of the were there 4 on this banner. But I got Stoneblade, I got Ash's Attack Medica. I got Healing Staff, which is that chick from Final Fantasy Tactics, her Medica, and I got Wizard Staff, which is Aerith's Super Soul Break Medica. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining because 3 Medicas for realms that I didn't have a Medica, 3 Super Soul Break Medicas. Now I have a Revive and a Magic Blink Medica and a High Regen Medica. I think I have 2 High Regen Medicas. I don't know. But I have several Super Soul Break Medicas now. So, yeah, I felt pretty good about that. I'm just going through to see if anybody else share. Anybody on Twitch get anything else interesting? If you want to share that with us, but those were from Slack chat. So yeah, I'm not complaining, especially after the Final Fantasy X armor-a-thon seemed like a thing.
Oh,
Now, does that armor have any soul break?
No, it's just
generic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I think that's even worse than not getting a 5-star, but again,
And it doesn't give any stats besides defense and resistance, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
So it's
I
like,
need to look at it more closely, but yeah,
because
that
I
was
like,
a real slap in the face.
5-star armor can be really good. Like Laguna's jacket is amazing. Sephiroth's coat is a great armor. Obviously, Bosch's shield, that's a great piece of armor. Even the Final Fantasy X fire armlets that do boost fire damage. But yeah, if it's just like because I have the CD or Seed uniform, and it's just defense resistance. So boring. Doesn't do anything. Yeah,
it's pretty.
yeah, it looks good.
I don't know. That's all I've got.
Yeah, not compared to the Japan armors that are coming out, like the costume armors that are coming out, do all kinds of crazy things.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen some pictures of some newer, that are.
Huh.
Like some of the new Ultimate Soul Breaks are armor based. So like Tyro's model is an armor. It's not a weapon, and that's his ultimate.
So they're like traditional costumes, like Squall's jacket, but so like Tyro's thing.
It's effectively his coat. I don't know what you call it. I think it's a coat. That's the relic that you'll get.
Yeah.
But that's his new one.
So we'll see how good it is in 6 months whenever they water it a little bit and then throw it our way.
But all in all, I did. Oh, there was somebody who saved up like 500 Mythril on Slack for this event. I was going to say I don't recall hearing a lot of people doing multiple pulls, but there was at least somebody who pulled, and I don't remember who it is. If you're on Twitch right now, you can join in. But somebody who saved like 500 Mythril for this event, and they were going for Beatrix's Super Soul or Burst Soul Break. And it took maybe 11 pulls. Would that be right? Yeah.
I'm thinking, was it Jethro?
Yeah,
I think I saw
maybe
it in Slack,
was Jethro. Yep.
Yeah, it was Jethro Lang. 500 Mythril ready to roll for Beatrix Burst Soul Break tonight. Oh boy, I got the shakes. And let's see, jump. Thank it.
Yeah, I don't remember how many. He did get it eventually. I don't remember how much Mythril.
Nice to have a happy ending.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you don't want to have spent 500 mithril and not get it. The chances for getting one item, I think, are probably statistically a little bit higher with guaranteed 5-star, but
See,
still difficult.
he got in all his polls. He said he got one time Beatrix Burst Soul Break, Paladin Cecil Burst Soul Break, and then Super Soul Break for Ovelia, Aerith, Lena, Bash, Steiner, and 2 shared Soul Breaks. So that's
Yeah.
11 mithril, 11 item.
11 pull.
Okay, let me do that again. 350 mithrils worth of 11 item pulls. There we
Yeah.
go. I made a
But
complete
it
sentence.
sounds like he pretty much got everything on the banner, though. So
Well, at that many mithril, but you know, this time I controlled myself. I didn't go bananas like the last time we had something like that, where my
you had a
credit
dark
card-
moment.
I had
Yeah.
a couple of brain bubbles, and my credit card is still crying for that. So
Pierre's still working a second job to
Yeah, to pay off.
to make amends.
it'd be funny if it wasn't all
Well,
true.
I accidentally took a bottle of water out of the mini fridge in the hotel, so I'm probably going to need to get a second job to pay for that. So
It's the kind of thing when your kids reach for the fridge, you see yourself yelling and throwing yourself in slow motion to stop the door from opening.
don't eat that $27 thing of Snickers.
Oh boy. Anyway,
Times though, I'm okay with the.
no, it was fine. I wasn't expecting anything, and I didn't get anything, so there we go.
I'm excited to finally have a Medica for Final Fantasy VII, and I suppose someday I might care about Final Fantasy Tactics, so that will be nice too.
So, because there is a Final Fantasy VII event coming up
Coming.
tomorrow.
Yes,
Who's
it is.
this?
It is a Zach Aerith event, right?
It's a something event, yeah.
Or a Cloud Aerith event? I don't know.
I just don't care about anything Final Fantasy VII related at this point because there were just so many of them.
Fancy.
Now, weekly discussion. I ask in Slack chat, which, by the way, if you are not a member of right now, you should be ashamed and join us right away by going to ffrkcentral.com/FFRK chat. Great 24/7 FFRK community where people actually respect each other. There's a global channel, Japanese channel, podcast channel, and just so many good people. I asked a question for this week's discussion. Which Final Fantasy music track is your favorite and why? And the answers were, first there's Bald Eagle that says the Spanish track from Final Fantasy VI. Not often do you get a full legit ragtime piece in a video game. He says, I like a lot of the Final Fantasy IX 2 main title theme is one of the first things I learned to play on the piano. Which then was followed by Yinka saying that his wife walked down the aisle to Melodies of Life from Final Fantasy IX. I thought that was pretty cute. Derek, I'm going to leave you to say yours after that, so skip on. Marley Frost says, Chocobo team, any Chocobo team, all Chocobo teams. And at that point, I said, you know what, this guy is completely bananas, so yeah. Yinka said, basically any track from 6 is my favorite, but the 7 battle music is pretty iconic. The Promise from 13 is one of my favorite too. Trinity says, to Xenarcan hands down, the song almost all the time gets me off guard. Purple Nep Nep says, Rufus Celebration Team, it's just so sudden, quite glorious, and a bit goofy. It's also the first time we get hints of Cloud not being Soldier. Spoiler alert. Pez Murga says, same with all of Final Fantasy VI and also Balam Garden from Final Fantasy VIII. Schwartz says pretty much everything in 6, especially Devil Lab, which is the Magitech research facility, because it's such a great crunchy factory feels to it.
Yeah.
Zozo Team, and personally, my 2 favorite ones are Shuffle and Boogie, which I gave myself a little pleasure and played as the intro of this episode. But my number one song is
Battle on the Big Bridge.
Actually, there's two. Eye on Me from Final Fantasy VIII, which is Super Cop's favorite song, as I can see on Twitch, and Sutaki Dane from Final Fantasy X. You guys?
Yeah, it's a great scene. Well, let me tell you, to give you a sense of how cool and hip I am, on my phone playlist, which, you know, I generally, when I'm in the car, I'm listening to sports radio, or I'm listening to podcasts, or I'm listening to, you know, stuff that I'm doing. But if I'm listening to music or on long car trips or something, I do have 6 playlists on my iPhone from my iTunes. Not my iTunes, I have all kinds. But of those 6 playlists, one of them is a Star Wars playlist of all Star Wars music, and one of them is a Final Fantasy playlist of all Final Fantasy music. And I have been to the live concert of him directing all of the music, and I, you know, have all that, and I have that album from 2002, I think. But I love Final Fantasy VIII. Most people know that if you've been listening. Liberi, Fatali, Man with the Machine Gun, Don't Be Afraid. I love the fight songs, Man with the Machine Gun, of course, and Don't Be Afraid. That's the normal fight song from Final Fantasy VIII. Those are probably my favorite. I do love One Winged Angel. Especially, I love the Advent Children version of that. With the guitars and everything else. I like Xanarkin. I think Trinity said that too, right? The Xanarkin theme on the piano is really nice. Yeah, nobody said The Dream Within from Laura Fabian, right? Come on, serious.
Oh my.
That's on my list. In My Hands from Lenoa Lewis, right?
Let's not forget, people, the Final Fantasy movie. That is a thing that really happened.
Yeah, it's great. There's more than one Final Fantasy movie, first of all.
Well,
we have to talk about the Final Fantasy V movie.
Derek, what was your favorite song?
Yeah, okay, so I did pair myself back to the one, and if I had to pick one, I agree with Trinity. It has to be to Xanarkin. I have a lot of affection for Final Fantasy X. I don't know why, because the cast is a bit iffy, and the
why do we love Final Fantasy X and hate all the characters?
The delivery of the script is just terrible, but to see everything that they go through in that story, and you know, I always think back to the last scene on the airship at the end of the game when I hear this song, and it's a very emotional memory for me. Definitely, yeah, it pulls at me. Lovely piece.
Well, it's a great game. I mean, I love Final Fantasy X, even though, like we've mentioned before, kind of hate all the characters. Except Lulu and Auron. I like them.
They get a pass.
Yeah.
All right. The people on the Twitch, if we go real quick, there's Thriller that says You Are Not Alone from Final Fantasy IX. We've got Super Cop with Eyes on Me, Final Fantasy VIII. PCMN, Victory Music, any Final Fantasy game. Telly with Too Many Great Songs to Choose From. I'm not sure which Final Fantasy.
Big Bridge!
But all kidding. Final Fantasy VI entire soundtrack. Big Bridge, The Extreme, that's from 8. You Are Not Alone, and Melodies of Life. Super Cop with Decisive Battle, Final Fantasy VI. Trinity says a lot of... oh, no, wait. That was an answer. And Telly says the first rule of Final Fantasy movie, we don't talk about the Final Fantasy V movie.
Oh,
so
it's
there
so
you
good.
go.
So good.
And
I found I'd have to look and see. I don't know if I've saved it or not, but going through, we try to have some music to represent what's going on in the game at every day, or every week that we come to this. And so I found a group that did a orchestral version of the entire Final Fantasy VI soundtrack, and it's pretty good, pretty high quality stuff. So the entire soundtrack kind of orchestrally arranged. So you might have to go YouTube that, check that out, see if you can find some different versions. Lots of people have done a lot of cool tributes to Final Fantasy music
because
over
it
the
is good
years.
music. You
It
hear a
is.
song and you can
is.
you feel all the emotions you felt when you play that game, and that's kind of why Record Keeper works. It's because it's those
Yeah.
characters, these music that brings you back.
Well, that's one of the nice little details of Record Keeper that they could have skimped on, that they've really done a good job with, and they had to, but they didn't have to, and
I
that's the
think they
music.
had to, because
Well, I mean,
if they
to
wouldn't
make
have
it
done it,
work,
it wouldn't have
right?
worked.
But I mean, any company could have taken on the idea and not taken the music along with it, or just taken some of the music, but to go in and to have realm specific battles, to have realm specific battle music, realm specific boss
Yeah,
music, realm
that's true.
specific victory themes, menus, all the menus are different, it really really nicely thought out.
I have a
And even
question for you guys. Are both day one players, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I was week one. Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
I have a very dumb question. When I first started playing Record Keepers, it was in the very first weeks. Is my mind playing me tricks, or during the first weeks was the victory fanfare the same for all the realms, and then they changed
Yeah.
that in an update?
Yeah. I believe at some point it was the same.
Okay, thank you. I've been wondering for a while now, for some very random reason. Like the day I realized that it had changed, I wasn't sure anymore if it was just my mind playing tricks, and I've been wondering ever since. So there we go.
Yeah, so they've updated. But I mean, you go into a realm like Final Fantasy 12 where you didn't have specific fights like you did in most of the Final Fantasy games. So you didn't have fight music. You just kind of fought in the realm that you were in. And so to have that kind of theme, and then to have, the victory going into that, and I mean, it's just really nice little caveats that they've added, into this game to make it more memorable and more nostalgic.
So, Derek, usually that's the part where we read your news from the future, but since you're there, I'm gonna let you the honor of doing it yourself.
Yeah, no, it'd be my pleasure to take us through it this week. So here we go again with JP Week in Review. There hasn't really been a lot in the way of new additions this week. We're still sort of cleaning up the tail end of the anniversary celebrations. But what we do have is the launch of the 7th event, Promise Under the Starry Sky. That one has released a new character. We've had the introduction of Rufus. He comes in with Darkness 5, Shooter 5, White 4, Combat 4, Support 4. So yeah, very interesting to see him added to the cast.
So how many Turks is there now in Japan playable?
Look, I would have to go and have a look at the roster. See, the problem I have is I've only been in it for a few months myself.
Right.
It seems like a long time, but there's a lot that's happened between where Global
No
is
doubt.
and when I
Right.
started playing. Yeah, yep. Other than that, we've had a lot of new relics. So Tifa has had an OSB introduced. Overflow Soulbreak. We've had an Ultimate Soulbreak for Aerith. And a handful of new BSBs for Cloud, Sid, Vincent, and Red 13. The other thing that we've had with the event, which does happen from time to time, is they've added a bunch of new Memory Crystal 3s to the Hall of Rights. I think there was maybe 15. So, yeah, for anybody that's interested, it's probably best just to go and have a look and see if any of your favorites have been added in. Other than that, we've had another dungeon update, which I believe is number 31. This takes us back to Final Fantasy 3, 12, and 14. With this update, they've borrowed the idea from Global, which I believe was a global first of the dungeon update banner. They've thrown a funny curveball at Japan, and I'm kind of hopeful it's not going to happen the same way in Global, in that the discount is the first single pull is free rather than being 100 gems. You get one relic pull for free. Other than that, everything is full price. There's no 25 mithril draw. That was a little bit disappointing to see. There's some fantastic relics in these realms in terms of burst soul breaks. We're looking at Ishtola, Onion Knight, Lunith. There's some real stars on there, but as I'm sure you can imagine, given how far along Japan is, there are a lot of relics on this banner. So you have to be pretty lucky to get what you want. Other than that, nothing else new. We're just cleaning up the anniversary. We've wound down Orbfest and the celebration banners. Some of the guys in FFRK JP on Slack had really good runs on the anniversary banners. I did not do as well as I wanted to myself. I got a lot of nice things. I was really after a healer BSB, and I might have thrown the equivalent of 375 Mythril into these banners, including the free pull on Orthlos banner. And it was on the very last one that I got one for Penello. So it was a weak one at that, but got there in the end. With regards to the anniversary, we still have the record cross dungeons ongoing and half-price story dungeons as well for people to catch up if they want to take advantage of that. I'd probably like to just quickly touch on the record cross because I think it is something that people should be aware of for future-proofing if they want to be able to clear all of the content in the game. I was not able to clear the highest difficulty boss in this dungeon, and a lot of people weren't. The clearance rates have been published for it, and they are extremely low. So just quickly, I might actually post a link to the Reddit thread in the Twitch chat, but I will just not go over all of the details, just a couple of little points. So the last boss at the end of it is Nemesis. Now, a quick overview of his stats: 500,000 hit points, 5,700 defense, 7,800 resistance. He resists all elements. Okay,
Jeez.
So straight away, you know this is a tough boss. But the real kicker, when we get down to 40%, his very weak phase, he starts using an ability called Transcendent Ethereal Cannon. What this does is it does natural type damage, 99,999 non-elemental damage to one target. It is going to kill whoever it hits, and there's nothing you can do about it. That happens every 2 turns. So you are dealing with this from 40% to 0%. There is only one way around this, and it's relic based, which is a real dick move, if you ask me. That's why I wanted to talk about it, to let people know what to look out for. So there's a new mechanic that's been added to the game in Japan called Guts. And basically what Guts does is it's a buff to your party members. If they're reduced to 0 hit points, it will basically leave them at 1 hit point. And that's a one-time deal. So if you get killed, you survive on 1 hit point and you can quickly recover. The benefit of that over re-raise is obviously that you keep all of your buffs. You don't have to rebuff. So there's a few characters that you want to look out for down the track that have access to this buff. I believe Realms, Burst Soulbreak. Edge has had a new Super Soulbreak added, which is pretty good. It has instant cast, Guts, Party Haste, and Physical Blink, I think.
Oh, wow.
And Min Filia, I think, also has Guts on one of her soul breaks from 14. The other mechanic that people have taken advantage of, and I did myself to clear the 180 difficulty version, which doesn't have this huge attack, is there are reflect damage buffs added into the game, which basically any damage your party takes, you still take it, but the boss takes an equal amount of damage as well. So that can be quite helpful. You know, if a boss has a lot of AoE damage, they're going to get hit back for 10,000, 15,000 damage on that turn without you doing anything, which is going to add up pretty quickly, especially when it's a boss like this that has high defense and high resistance. So I used Alphanord. He's a new character added to 14, and I believe a lot of people have used him natively or on a roaming warrior to take advantage of that cheap damage, because it's just so hard to hit through this defense. So keep your eyes open, save a little bit of Mythril in your pocket for banners coming up for these characters. Keep an eye out for the relics that feature these mechanics, and good luck when it happens, because I don't think the clearance rate is very high, over 10%. Very difficult.
Wow.
Yeah, it has to be pretty frustrating to get to that point and seeing your characters drop one right after the other.
It's just ridiculous. If you don't have a way to mitigate that, you can't clear it effectively, because you're not going to take out 40% of a boss's health with that kind of resistance in say 3
right.
turns. It's just not going to happen.
But that's the issue I have a lot of times with certain of the mechanics, especially when I didn't have a wall or some kind of shout, is how can they put in these mechanics if it all depends on relic draws you might never win?
Well, that's why they do it.
But that's my whole point. But the thing is, it's not even a game where that can be free to play, pay to win, because you can't.
No, right.
You could do unlimited gem draws until you get the items you want. But let's say you have really bad karma and you spent $100, $200, you still don't have the item you wanted. How can they put in a mechanic where you'll be screwed out of ever clearing a dungeon? How does that make sense?
Yeah, well, let me just add on a caveat to that. I think this, for me, I think this is really the first time that something like that has happened. I think wall is a big deal, but it has been possible to do things without wall in the past. But with this one in particular, all you are getting from this fight is bragging rights and 500,000 gil. You're not missing out on any rewards by skipping it. So
I would
Right.
totally
I've gone that way
fight.
myself.
I would
Yeah.
flip that fight with both hands. If there's like nothing but bragging rights which nobody looks at, screwed. It would be way too frustrating for me.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there you have it, folks. Frustrating.
Exciting and challenging things on the horizon.
So, anything else?
No, this week. Just looking forward to the next lot of events coming out. And stay tuned. We'll update you again next week.
Is the second anniversary event all done with?
Yeah, basically, it's just the record cross, which is still open. I think we've got that for another few days. 10th of October, I think that's going to finish up, and half price story dungeons, which that's been really awesome to get the stamina built up. I'm actually pretty close to overlapping my global stamina. That'll happen this week.
Wow.
Mm.
Pretty impressive. There you go. I got it. So I think that's a wrap for us for this week. Guys, anything else you want to share, plug, anything before we go?
Not really for myself. I'd just like to say thanks for inviting me onto the show. It was a pleasure to finally get on here. And
thank you so much for being there, and thank you especially for your weekly contribution for the news from the Japanese side of things, and for all you do in the Slack chat every day. Seriously, thank you so much for that.
That's my pleasure.
And have a nice lunch.
Yeah, I got to get to that.
Mark, anything on your end?
No. I just haven't had time. I've been swamped with stuff at work and home and everything else. So I had hopes maybe to throw up some FFRK basics on the new job motes, but I haven't done that because they're a little confusing. We talked about it last week if you don't know what you're doing. So I might still do that. Other than that, nope. You just catch me around when I'm around, and happy to help if I'm around. But right now, that's not a lot, and probably won't be a lot until January.
Ouch.
Look forward to hearing from people in January. Then I got about 6 months, just because there's 10 feet of snow on the ground, so we can't do anything or go anywhere. So.
10 feet of snow in Canada. That's like nothing. Well, at least where I live.
Yeah, no way.
I was born with 10 feet of snow. Seriously,
born with snowshoes.
We go to school in skates and.
Oh yeah, no,
with our beaver hats.
We do not slow down when there's snow around us. But January is usually a pretty mild month for me.
Other than that, on my side, I still do the daily Twitch streaming a whole bunch of games. I have FFRK during the mornings. I have Hitman, Secret of Mana Tree, lots of stuff going on. If you're interested to take a look at the project I'm doing with my brother, you just head to supergamingbros.tv and you'll find the links to our Twitch channel, to our YouTube channel, Twitter, and all the other crap, social media crap that exists that we're on. But if you want to send us questions, comments, apple pie recipes for the Crystal Chronicles, you can do it in several ways. The best one would, as always, is to come in Slack chat in the Crystal Chronicles channel and just ask your questions there. Or you can email us at ffrkcentral@gmail.com, and everything I get I forward to my co-hosts. Other than that, you can reach all of us on Twitter. I can be reached at FFRKCentral. Ben, who's not here but who we love very much, it can be reached at ethanks88. Mark?
You can reach me at Rev Mark Myers and at Rev HP on Slack chat.
And Derek, while you're there, any social media Slack chat contact for people who want to reach out to you?
Yeah, look, I don't have time for Twitter. Get a haircut. Come at me on Slack chat. You'll find me in all of the channels. I'm, fairly active during our waking hours over here, and a little bit more lately sometimes during our sleeping hours. Yeah, we'd love to have some more people come into the FFRK JP channel in particular. Just, pop your head in and see what's going on. Shout out to my guys in there. We've got Pez, Bruce. Rax has joined recently, and he's been a great